I lived my early 20s being obsessed with the idea of making it. I thought I'd make it when I got into a prestigious school. Later, I reframed the goal to be landing my dream job, buying a house, or finally getting promoted. Until I realized, no matter how hard I try, I will never reach the heights I was promised. I have no idea what making it actually means. This is the reality for many of us today. We're feeling so stuck in life and trapped in an economic game that seems increasingly rigged. In 1960, a child born into an average American household had over 90% opportunity of earning more income than their parents. Today, that same stat had plummeted to only 50%, which means what was once a near certainty has become no better than a coin flip. Can we still believe hard work will guarantee success? Welcome to my channel. My name is Lydia, and today we're talking about upward mobility, the belief that hard work should enable us to do better than our parents. If you're an immigrant like me, the odds can be better or worse depending on where you were born. I was born in a small city, Lanzhou, in China, where the average income in 2023 was about $6,000 per year per person. That's about half of what an average person would make in Beijing and Shanghai. Despite these humble beginnings, I was lucky enough to eventually go on and receive higher education in the United States, getting into an Ivy League school and landing six-figure jobs. My single mother worked her butt off in order to provide for me, which of course meant immense pressure. I'm supposed to be more accomplished and successful than my family, who had little to nothing to begin with and had to pave their own way to success. The sad truth is I'll probably never replicate that level of success. The average income in China has grown eightfold since 1980s, which means after adjusting for inflation, you're supposed to be making $640K a year, while your parents made $80K a year. This exponential growth created a really inflated perception of success and financial mobility that simply isn't sustainable. Today, those in their 20s and 30s like me are struggling. We've missed out on the wave of exponential success, and we blame ourselves for not being able to achieve the same level of success as our parents. The situation in the US is not that different. I know how people like to talk about how hard they had it themselves, but when you think about it, baby boomers, the generation that came of age during an era of economic boom and unparalleled opportunity, they had it so much easier. Jobs were plentiful, wages were rising, and the cost of living was manageable. You used to be able to save up for 2 to 3 years to buy a house, while most of us nowadays can't even afford rent after graduating from college. But this life, this reality they've lived, is what they're used to, and they've raised us to work tirelessly and follow the same rules, expecting similar outcomes. So the belief that hard work leads to a good life is slowly falling apart. We simply don't have the right circumstances or life-changing opportunities to generate wealth. Despite being raised with all of these stories of success and celebration of hard work, millennials and Gen Z, we face a completely different reality, where the economic foundations of upward mobility no longer exist. The game has changed. Oh, speaking of, for more insights into this dynamic, I highly recommend this book, Can't Even, by Anne Helen Peterson. The book does a really good job exploring how we were raised to believe the rules that eventually burn us out. Other than stagnant growth, inequality is another major factor. If you look at the stats and the numbers published, you'll realize that upward mobility has declined sharply over the past century, primarily due to income inequality. For an average person like us, the unequal distribution of wealth actually hurts way more than the slowdown in overall growth rates. I have to quote some crazy numbers here. Today, China's top 10% holds 69% of the nation's wealth, very close to the US at 71%. This rising inequality is the major factor behind today's political polarization, social discontent, and all of this populist nationalism. The rich are using their power and wealth to change how the rules are being made in ways, obviously, that favor them. And here, I'm not talking about your neighbor who makes $600K a year as a tech lead. I'm talking about elites with generational wealth that have disproportionate influence and power. Once you realize the game is rigged, I encourage you to explore the unwritten rules that govern success in the current game. This includes knowing how wealth is generated, who holds power in given situations, and most importantly, what structural barriers exist in your current situation. Only when you understand the game, you would be able to reject its false promises and, more importantly, figure out your own matrix of success. Sorry, I went to layer up. So what do? Do we give up? Do we quit living? Do we quit fighting? Do we quit trying to do anything? In life, people play many games at once. I like to think about life in 4 main buckets. Obviously, you have career, work, basically what we do for a living. And then you have your family, your friends, your intimate relationships, all the people, the social structure around us. After that, you have your hobbies, what you like to do for yourself, your time spent on, going out running, do whatever you enjoy in life. After that, the last bucket would be personal development, finding your spiritual belonging or going on a world trip by yourself. But again, especially when we are facing a rigged game in terms of the economic state of the world, instead of fighting the uphill battle for traditional matrix success, like wealth, power, status, what if you choose to play a different game? What if you find other pathways to fulfillment? Using surfing as an analogy, sometimes the surfers will take the board out and the waves are just not great. It's either the wind or the weather, something is off. The surfers, they would just sit around either chit-chatting, talking about life, or just enjoying the views and each other's company. They might be waiting for the waves to pick up again, and if the right waves come, they would jump on and, be able to ride the waves again. But sometimes the waves never come, and that is okay. You bring your board back, call it a day, and go home. Although I've been talking shit about this state of upward mobility, it's undeniably true that in comparison to our parents, we live in a world with much better standards of living. We have all of this digital literacy, all of the mental health awareness going on, and many, many other avenues where we can enrich our own lives. This is exactly the time when we make mistakes, go on adventures, and find a community. And of course, letting go of people's expectations can be really hard. There will be pushbacks from those who still believe in the game. If you know the game is rigged, if the waves just aren't great today, hopefully you will embrace the freedom of defining success on your own terms, seeking fulfillment in ways that resonate with your true self. This might mean pursuing a passion, building meaningful relationships, or contributing to causes you care about. Remember, the game might be rigged, but you have the power to change the rules and carve out a life that brings you joy and satisfaction. At the end of the day, the important thing is to find your place in the world and live a life that makes you happy and fulfilled, one that's not dictated by the rigged system. Thank you for being here. I really enjoy your company, and if you like the content, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.